Hi Sean, just a quick rundown of what I did. I changed the colours of the tracks so they'd be a bit more kind of obvious. I left your comping exactly the way that you done the comping. I first of all done the audio tuning. So Control Shift and A selects everything on that track. You right click and then go to edit with Melodyne. Then I listened through it. I manually moved a couple. That was one of them. I then went to, I think this one here. Yep, no. I went to this one here. You can see I done pitch correction to 88%, pitch drift 85%. That seemed to have done the job quite fine, so that's all I did to that. When I was doing this in the mixer area, I actually turned down the music input so I could hear the vocals, and on the insert effects I removed everything from the insert effects. Okay, so then I started from the top down. So what I did was I first dealt with the main vocal track. This yellow one is like a second take when it comes to the chorus that you did. So I started with adding an EQ. And the EQ, all I done was turn on the LC low cut filter so that it would remove any hum, lower end stuff, so it didn't put it through the compressor unnecessarily. I then moved on to the Reason Zone compressor. I took about -7 off the high peaks, so it went down like that, but I didn't add any makeup gain to that. The reason why I didn't is because your audio was already too hot already. In other words, you recorded it quite loud, it was already way too loud. So as you can see here, the output gain and the peak reduction, I've set them up so that when I go to bypass, they don't sound any louder or not much louder at all. The only difference is that the quieter parts obviously sound louder, and the loud parts sound quieter, sound more even, which is the whole job done. Then I went on to adding another EQ, but in this one I used a preset Male Vox 2, and this comes as a preset. It didn't really need to remove the bottom low cut filter off really, because it's already been done, but it can't remove filter frequencies that are not there anyway, because I took them out right at the beginning. So a little bit of sparkle just here, a little bit of sparkle just at the top end, not that much. And then what I did was I just literally dragged and dropped these. What you can do is you can drag and drop them into any track you want, and it makes a copy. So I drag and drop them into the second track, and that's that done. For reverb, I made a brand new track, and I'll show you how I did this. This is called a Sends and Effects Return track. So I right click and click on Add Effects Channel. So in this channel, this channel is designed purely just for effects. Then what you can do is you can send any track to those effects, and this is much the same way as where it works in Reason, where you've got the ability to send a certain amount of your input into an effect. So what you can do is you can add an effect. I have to say reverb, anything to do, just chuck a reverb in there, and then what you can do is you can add as many effects you want in there as you want. Then you can go to your sends area of your track and see there, by clicking on the plus button, you'll see in this list your send effects mixer channel. So if I was to call this new one, just so you can see the name there, and I click on this plus sign, you can see new one is there. And what it does is it will send the signal into here. Now it works a little bit differently. When you add a reverb directly onto the track, what it does is it saturates the reverb effect on the whole track. Whereas if you was to do a Sens effects which has a reverb, it keeps a dry one with it. So I'm going to remove this. This is the one I made. I made a reverb. Just double click on that reverb. Just tweak the one you already put there. Then I added the Rob Papham reverb. And I tweaked that a little bit. Didn't do too much with that. I can't even see how you close this damn thing. There is. And then I added a chorus. As simple as that. A doubling chorus preset. This means that when you go to, if I just remove this, I'll show you, I'll remove it just to show you. It's normally empty like that, and that one is normally empty. There we go. You click on this plus sign, and you see here, this one here called reverb. Well, that's the FX channel called reverb that I renamed it. And it's not just reverb, it's reverb, it's a secondary reverb and a chorus, and that is what the Send FX Return does. And you can see here this little slider, you can send how much signal you want, or wet and dry, into this effects chain, and the result is you've got a little bit of wet and dry at the same time, so it allows the vocals to cut through the mix a bit better rather than be saturated with reverb. Like you sing in a toilet. And that's it for that. I balanced it out a little bit with the channel faders, and then with the output where it says post, I added a Reason rack. And in the Reason rack I added this EQ Master Pop preset. I tweaked it a little bit so the gain levels weren't quite as harsh. See the gain for the different frequencies. You could say it's a low, mid, high, and you can add or take away gain from that. When I found it was about right, and then I added the ozone maximizer, and I made it so it is a little bit louder but not too loud, otherwise it sounds a bit too crushed, and that is all I did. And then I finally went to song, export mix down, and then I chose MP3 44.1 Hertz, 192 kilobits per second, and then I exported it.